Hey, I'm Brian from BMA Comics Con, and today we're going to take a look at The Flash number 64, The Price of Innocence, which is part 2 of the Batman Flash crossover. Previously in Batman Flash crossover, Price of. There's an attack on the Flash Museum, and Batman and Flash respond to the attack. Neither of them can stop the assailant. Batman proposes to Flash that they team up to solve the crime, but Flash is still upset with Batman over the events of Sanctuary. So, to make things easier, Batman agrees to tell Flash what he knows about the attack so far, which is that Gotham Girl is behind the attacks, and Batman feels to blame for her actions. Batman and Flash admire each other as they investigate the crime scene. The investigation leads them into an island in the Caribbean, all based off of a leaf that was found at the crime scene. While on the island, they find a giant castle. In the castle, we can see that someone has been obsessed and following all of the Justice League. While looking at everything, Flash gets a flashback to when Wally was just starting out as Kid Flash. And it kinda brings back difficult memories for him, as Flash is still dealing with the events of Sanctuary and the death of Wally West. As they proceed to the next room, they find a bunch of test subjects that all appear to be Gotham and Gotham Girl. Flash tries to re-engineer what was going on, and it turns out Venom is one of the components of what's going on in there. That lets Batman know that it's a trap. And if that wasn't enough, they also find Psycho Pirate's mask, which seems to have taken a hold of Flash, because instead of being concerned about it being a trap as Batman warned him, Flash lashes out at Batman asking whether Batman had taken Gotham Girl to Sanctuary for help. Speaking of Gotham Girl, she crashes through the wall and races Flash to the console, beating him by knocking him out of the way. She starts up the machine and releases all of the Gotham and Gotham Girls that were trapped in the tubes. So Batman and Flash fight for their lives against the team that the Justice League couldn't stop on their own. Gotham Girl decides her plan is to continue, and she will go ahead and emulate a better role model than Batman. She picked Superman. Are these Gotham and Gotham Girls strong enough to hold back Batman and Flash? Who is Gotham Girl working for? Is it Bane? How will Batman and Flash get out of this one? Find out next week in Batman number 65. Same bat time, same bat channel. No, I'm just kidding. But for real though, subscribe if you'd like to continue to see reviews on the Batman Flash crossover. Okay, so this story doesn't flow very well from part 1 to part 2, because there's a lot of change up between the characters and the art. The end of last issue seemed like Flash was very upset with Batman and didn't want anything to do with him, whereas this issue starts off with them both pretty much just trying to get past their issues, which doesn't always work, because the death of Wally West is still fresh. It seems that they've gotten past it, and they are going to go ahead and work together. As a CSI agent and detective, they both just admire each other's commitment to the crime scene, which Batman and Flash have in common, that no one else in the Justice League really does a lot of investigations. There was something I realized in last issue that I made a comment of, which was when the statue was falling, Batman was attached to his plane, that he called the Batwing, which he called the Batplane in that issue, but he's calling the Batwing in this issue, which is still very cool, because it seems like he was able to keep up with the Flash. I'm not saying Flash was running at his top speed, but he's running fast enough to run on water, and the plane kept up. I don't know how fast you have to go to run on water, but the Batwing was able to keep up, which is very impressive. It seems like Tom King might have given Joshua Williamson some tips on this, because we're bringing it back to Venom, which almost has me wondering if Bane has something to do with this. Gotham Girl is controlled and advised by someone, and I'm almost certain it's Bane. The last time we saw him, I think he was in prison, but that's because I haven't been following the Batman storyline. I go off and on with it, to be honest, but I'm gonna try to give it another chance now. So, this crossover story is a Heroes in Crisis tie-in, since I didn't say that in the last review, and that would explain Batman's issues and hallucinations. Like I said, Flash is a happy kind of person, so I get why this comic opens up with him not still being as upset as he was in the last issue. I guess especially since Batman did tell him the truth about Gotham Girl. So I'm okay with Flash switching like that, especially since every so often something comes up to remind Flash that Batman's part of the problem with Wally, or the fact that he's fed up with the unsolved mysteries. I like the dynamic between the two of them in this issue. The ups, the downs, it just really shows Flash is trying to go ahead and get past the issues, but somehow it keeps getting thrown at him. We also get to touch on Batman, who's once again being called out for being a bad father figure. I prefer the art in this issue as opposed to the last issue, which was Batman number 64. I like how clean of a look it has. I do understand what the artist of last issue was doing. Batman was going through something, so that's why he looks all rough, but I prefer the smooth, clean look we're getting now. This issue had 3 covers. One of them was just a blank, so I'm gonna ignore that one. Let's talk about the A and the B cover. The A cover was done by Chris Burnham, who has been doing the covers for the crossover, while the B cover was done by Tom Rainey. Now I'm gonna go with the A cover, because that's the one that I got because it goes with the story. Now I'm not gonna say the B cover isn't nice. It's good, but I just prefer to go with the A cover since I did with Batman 64. So I'll just continue to go with the A covers for this story. But now with Batman 64, man, I wish I was looking more at the variants because that had a nice variant to it. I like when Flash calls Batman out and he just goes into Batman, pretty much calling Batman a terrible father figure. Was he there for the Robins and Nightwing? Did he help them create their costume? Did he take Gotham Girl to Sanctuary to get her the help she needed? Which, that last one was a loaded question, really, but still. In the moment, you get to see the difference between Flash and Batman. Kid Flash came up with his own costume, but Flash was there to help him make it. Whereas Batman, on the other hand, he's like, oh no, that was Alfred's job. And Batman pretty much didn't help out with the kid's clothes and development, only the training. Simple as this panel is, I like it. The way Batman's cape just flares up and he's got the whole Spawn cape looking thing. So his cape is interactive with him. I guess that's just him turning around that fast, talking about it's a trap, that the cape just flares up. But this cape looks larger than life. It almost looks alive and like it's trying to protect Batman. Unrealistic, but just look at Batman because I understand there's a lot of Batman being thrown at us in other types of media. Batman's still a great character and just this image of him is like, wow. I like the way Gilliam March is doing the art of Batman. I like the whole clean way he looks, and this is a nice looking Batman who's got the batarangs and everything. I enjoyed this comic. I thought it was a good follow-up to the first issue, and I look forward to part 3. So I'm gonna say that this was a good story overall. Now part 1, I rated a 9 out of 10. So I think this one is just as good and also deserves a 9 out of 10. It's a continued, consistent good story that I can't wait to see Gotham Girl's continued descent into madness. She started off emulating Batman and seems like she's going to go into emulating Joker. There you have it, my review on Flash number 64. Please let me know your thoughts on this comic and video in the comments below. If you like reviews of your favorite comic books, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Until next time, Brian out.